Okay. I see 1:30 now, and as a quorum is present, I will call this meeting of the Jefferson Transit Authority Board to order at 1:30 p.m. on Tuesday, July 21st. And let's do a quick roll call first. Why don't we start over here with board members? Heidi, you want to introduce yourself?
Heidi Eisenhower, Jefferson County Commissioner and Transit member.
Red O.B., City Council member.
John?
John Nowak, Port Townsend School District.
Good to see you. I'm Greg Brotherton, Jefferson County.
Heather Dudley Nolette, also a Jefferson County Commissioner.
Okay, and online, David, then Viviane.
David Faber, City of Port Townsend.
Viviane, Quilcene School District.
Great. Thanks for being here, Viviane.
Rick Burton.
On a boat. On a boat?
Yeah, on a boat. We just docked, so now I can
Oh, great.
pay attention to this.
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Finale.
Great. All right.
Buses.
And buses. Nicole, you want to walk us through the staff?
Sure. We'll start with Sarah.
Sarah Pack, Mobility Operations Manager.
Nicole Gauthier, General Manager.
Carrie Matthews, Finance and HR Manager.
Kelly Olson, Marketing and Outreach Manager. Kristen Bennett, Human Resource Generalist.
Amy Hall, Fixed Route Operations Manager.
Jamie Brooke, Grants and Procurement Coordinator. Amanda Watkins, Clerk of the Board.
Great. I meant clockwise, but I didn't, wasn't just, you confused me for a second. Clockwise, but didn't make a specific correction. We're glad that you can join us too, Logan from MAC.
Thanks.
And thanks for being here. You want to say hi?
Yeah, hi, Logan Hoffman. I'm with Madison Avenue Collective. We're a design consultant that's been working with you all on some branding work. So I'll be presenting later.
We've had to look through the slides. It's exciting. Looking forward to more. All right. Well, let's move on to public comment. Does anyone in the room or online have a public comment to share with us on any topic? You can raise your hand or raise your virtual hand if you're online. I don't think we have any public with us online. Okay, seeing no public comment, I will close public comment, and we'll approve the agenda. We don't think we have any new agenda items, but is there anything that needs to be added to the agenda? If there's no objection, the agenda will be approved as presented. Okay, the agenda is approved. So now we are moving on to our hearing. Amanda, did we have a time posted for this hearing?
1:30.
1:30. Okay, great.
Stuff I put at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay, great. So we'll start our hearing on the draft of the 2026 Transit Development Plan. We're now opening the public hearing for the 2026 to 2031 Draft Transit Development Plan. The purpose of this hearing is to invite testimony from members of the public regarding the draft TDP. The public hearing will proceed as follows. First, we'll have a staff presentation from Jamie, I assume. And then comments and questions from the board, public testimony, and then we will close the public hearing and we will do deliberation, but we'll take action by resolution at the next meeting. So we'll pass it over to Jamie.
Thank you. So I don't really have a presentation per se, but the draft TDP is in the board packet or in the agenda. Sorry. Basically, that is the Transit Development Plan it's an annual plan that Jefferson Transit puts out that really recaps what we did last year as far as operating and capital projects, and then what we plan to do in the 5 years moving forward. Again, covers operating, covers capital, covers our financial plan, and it's dictated, the layout, the format of it is dictated by WashDOT, what they need to see in it in order for the report to be compliant. So that's how we build that report to hit all of those points that WashDOT wants to see, and just make sure everybody knows what we've been up to and what we're planning to be up to. And I'm happy to answer any questions about the TDP.
All right. From the board, any questions or comments at this juncture?
Just a question about whether the public comments received to date have already been incorporated, or like the comments from Linda McIntyre, for example, are ones that, are we discussing those here or have they?
We can, I know Kelly has a list. I think those were mainly like just little typos and grammatical things. Yeah, those will be incorporated into the final version of it before adoption. But yeah, they've been, we have a list compiled of things we're gonna correct and
Can you
tweak
give us
before.
a red line version of those just scrivener's corrections?
So the way that the program that Kelly's using in order to do this to make sure it's accessible, I don't think allows us to redline, but I think that's why we're making a list of things that we're changing. So we have a
Page.
list for
Yeah,
the
I'm
board can
doing
review.
by page number and then what has changed, so we can provide that at August meeting.
Okay.
Perfect. So we won't be approving it until August.
Correct. Today is just the public hearing for the public to
One of
comment.
Linda's questions was JTA versus the agency and referring to the organization. And are we going to move to one? It seems reasonable, but sometimes and there's a subject to the.
For best practices, what I've read is at the beginning of every new chapter, we spell it out as Jefferson Transit Authority and then do JTA in parentheses. And then every time after that, we should just say JTA. So if I miss any, I'll go back through and read it again. But that's how I tried to set it up. So every new chapter, full name.
Let's see.
And the very first time you mentioned Jefferson Transit, and then after that, in that chapter will be JTA.
Okay. And I didn't see it, but do we refer to ourselves other than in the subject line when we're talking about the agency as the agency? Because that would be a different search term if you want to replace that with JTA.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We could do it. We could do a
Yeah,
search of the document and just.
Look for that, because I think we might reference the agency in there. Write that down.
Yeah, I think that's a good comment.
Yeah, just to keep it. Absolutely. Yeah.
My other question is about the service area of the agency under the agency section of governing body. And do we include the parts of Clallam County that we go through?
So are we talking like let me pull
Page
this up here.
12 or page 12 of the packet, page 6 of the TDP.
The packet up here. So let me just.
It reads, as of July 1, 2025, JTA's service area had 37,307 residents. This includes both the east and west sides of the county.
So we are incorporating the population of Forks in that as well, because we do serve.
They aren't in the county, so there's an error in the sentence one way or the other.
Yeah, I guess it. Yeah, so I guess we could change that verbiage to this includes the east and west and service, or just instead of saying the county, the eastern and western service areas.
There you go.
That is page 6 of the.
Yeah, I mean, just acknowledging that we serve Clallam County's rural areas, I think, maybe be explicit about why we're
Absolutely
people more than the county, which is logical.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, good catch. Thank you.
You might even just specifically say that it, includes east and west sides of the service area, including,
Forks.
Jefferson County and portions of Clallam or whatever you want.
Yeah. No, thank you. That's good to call that out.
Any other questions? Comment? Don't talk over there from Vivian.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. No, that's okay. Okay. One last call for questions, comments from the board. Okay, I will open for testimony. We're now accepting public testimony on the draft TDP. Those people wishing to give public testimony are asked to speak clearly and state their full names and place of residence, and will be provided up to 3 minutes to speak. Does anyone wish to give public testimony? If you're online, please hit the raise hand button. If you're on the phone, press *9 and then *6 to unmute. Raise your physical hand if you're in the room and would like to comment on the policy.
I don't see any hands up online at the moment.
Okay. One more call. Anyone that would like to give testimony on this draft consideration of the TDP, we would love to hear from you. Hit the raise hand button or *9 if you're on the phone. Physical hand if you're in the room. Okay, seeing no hands, I will close testimony, and I will, unless there's any questions, that testimony raised for the board members. I will close this hearing. The hearing of the 2026 to 2031 draft transit development plan is now closed. Final action, as I said, will take place by resolution at the next scheduled board meeting on August 18th, 2026. So just one more minute of deliberation if there's anything else that we want to change. Now, this is really the time. We're not looking to make edit on the fly with the resolution.
Yeah, I mean, I would say just as we can see that line by line change, the changes, and we're good. And I guess I would only add if there are things that came up in comment that, like in, for example, in Linda's comment, that you are not going to implement, if you can just give us a heads up that you looked at it and why you're not implementing it, that would be helpful.
And just a quick thank you to everybody, Jamie and everybody that put the energy in. I know that's a lot of work to put that together. So thanks for doing that.
For sure. And I think the hearing is an approval of the process, right? No criticism.
We appreciate it.
Yes, a few notes written. Okay, great. Next up is our consent agenda. We have 4 items on our consent agenda. Does anyone have any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Minutes. The changes for the drug and alcohol policy were all in blue. It was mostly just taking explicit names out and by reference to role. Were those the substantive changes?
Correct.
Go
ahead.
Thank you. I move approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any deliberation? Seeing none, I will call the question. All in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
We get to the fun stuff.
10 minutes ahead. So yeah, we get to really dig in with the agency rebrand presentation. I don't know. Yeah, does anyone gonna tee it up or should I hand it right to Logan?
Kelly, do you want to
Sure.
Yeah.
introduce?
So we have been going through this process of the agency rebrand, and we are very excited that we are in the stage of concepts, logo concepts, and we've been working with Mac since March on our voice and tone and logo concepts, and they are here today to present the logo concepts to the board. So we're excited to have this done and hear your guys' feedback.
Great. Exciting. All right. Take it away, Logan.
All right. I'm gonna see if I can actually give me 1 second. I think I just clicked on the wrong button. I was meaning to go to presentation mode and didn't. Let me see how I can get back out of this. Let me stop sharing real quick here, guys. Sorry about that.
Sometimes putting it in presentation mode and then sharing is easier.
Yep. And that's, I think, what I'm going to have to do here. So, all right, here we go. We can reshare from here and you should be able to see everything. All right, so thank you for having us here, or me here today. My name is Logan Hoffman. I'm VP of Strategy and Growth at Madison Avenue Collective, also known to our friends as MAC. It's been a really fun process working with you all, with Nicole and Kelly and the rest of the team through a pretty detailed process to make sure that we hear from a lot of different folks and that we're getting all the information we need to make really informed and creative design decisions. So going to go over a little bit about the approach that we've taken and the timeline we're at, review some discovery findings and research with you all that kind of laid the groundwork for everything we've done, and then dive into some of the creative work with you all, giving you a peek into some of the messaging, as well as some initial logo concepts that we want to share with you all, and then talk about next steps in terms of the stakeholder engagement that's going to happen, and also take any comments and questions from you all. So with that, I will kind of dive in.
Logan, can I ask one question before you get started?
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
would you prefer us to wait until the end of your presentation with questions, or it's up to you? We can go on or interject.
If you guys are okay with waiting till the end, I think that's fine. If you've got something that's really pressing, feel free to jump in. But we definitely have some time at the end. I know we'll have, anytime we present stuff like this, there's lots of questions and thoughts, and we want to gather all those. So sometimes it may be easier for us to do that all at once at the end, if that's okay.
We'll try to wait for the 2 marshmallows.
Okay. So when we were brought into this project, there were some pretty clear goals in terms of modernizing your current Jefferson Transit logo. We wanted to build community through the new logo, give you all an opportunity to reconnect and really create something that your community could be proud of and have ownership over. We wanted greater visibility and recognition in the logo. And we wanted a modernization of that mark that reflected current realities, right? And that can be very functional in the fact that like the bus shown isn't a bus you all have, to the fact that, modern day logo systems have to be used in a variety of platforms online and print, in a variety of different ways. And the current system had some limitations around that. So both functional and in terms of design application. We have a 5-phase process that we've been working through. We started with discovery and research, which I'll kind of review with you all here in just a bit. We are now into that brand messaging development and visual identity phases, which are kind of running concurrently. Once we have those signed off on and really refined, then we'll get into application and implementation for you all. And before, handing off the final work and then supporting you all in rollout of this across your system. So pretty exciting time. Just quick timeline view of that all. We do anticipate this officially launching publicly sometime in October. So diving into that discovery and research findings work, we conducted an extensive number of interviews and focus groups. Here's just a quick list. A couple board members. We engaged your TAG group, your transit operators, talked to a couple other regional transit systems, one of which had recently gone through a similar process. And so they provided some feedback from their perspective. We talked to your staff, members of your City of Port Townsend staff, other community members as well that are active riders in your system, just to get a real perspective of how they felt about your current logo, how they felt about the system, what was being reflected accurately, what wasn't, so that we could take all of that into this rebranding exercise. We definitely found some things that, made Jefferson County distinct and helped provide some inspiration both visually and in terms of the way we communicate verbally and in writing about JTA. So certainly some historic maritime character to the organization, to the community. Very small intentional communities, both in Port Townsend and outlying areas, right? There's this underlying creative maker culture across all of those communities that we talked to as well. They really appreciate the agriculture and the natural environment of the area, as well as geographic diversity and political diversity. And overwhelmingly, there's this feeling of warmth and welcome. And that, everybody we talked to said that was one of those things that made Jefferson County feel really distinct and unique. So as we dug into that, one of the key questions is always who your audience is. Who can we serve better? Who do we currently serve? And so, as we define that sort of current ridership profile, a lot of the trips and riders are using your system out of necessity, right? Whether that's medical work, running errands, right? It's typically as much more necessity over leisure or commuting, but those commuter and leisure riders are folks that we want to engage further, right? So what we'd call the choice riders. These are students, they're work commuters, and there's a lot of value that can be added or communicated to these individuals to hopefully get them to move from those occasional users to more regular riders, right? Because whether it's parking, not having to drive yourself, avoiding other hazards, being environmentally aware, there's all sorts of benefits that JTA can bring to those riders that are choosing to. They have other choices for transportation and they still want to use that system. So with that, we came away from discovery with some really concrete recommendations about the tone and feeling we wanted to create for you all, the color direction, what we needed to be thinking about as we were updating that logo and that mark. And then also an overwhelming recommendation to be really thinking about brand systems rather than a logo, right? It's impossible to communicate everything that JTA and Jefferson County is in one single mark. But we can create a system around that mark that allows us to bring more of that forward, right? Whether that's ocean imagery or agricultural imagery or artistic imagery, right? That reflect your community better. So we really wanted to adopt a brand system thinking approach while pushing this, a tone and feeling that was friendly, artsy, unique, definitely warm, definitely emotionally compelling. The color direction, what we found in our exploration was that your color palette in a lot of ways was unique, but it felt a little bit dated, right? So we wanted to evolve that palette to bring it into a more modern, vibrant, engaging way without totally throwing out what we already had, right? And then, the logo and the mark, we definitely wanted to update that typeface to be more modern, create something that was both unmistakably a bus system, but also had some nods to history and those larger environmental indicators that we talked about. So with that, we did dive into messaging and visual identity design sort of simultaneously. The messaging work is still being refined, but a couple places that we have, really honed in on and feel really good about is starting with these brand values, right? Through a large messaging workshop that we conducted with your team, as well as our discovery work, we did really identify these brand values of welcoming, connecting, responsive, and sustainable as really core pillars of that we can build your brand around and build our communication to your external stakeholders around. So, we heard time and again that JTA has the absolute best bus drivers, that they are smiling and always friendly and always willing to share information and help you get where you need to get to. We heard this theme of connecting. And this is obviously about like every trip has a destination. And it very much was about getting from point A to point B. But really, the heart of it was actually deeper than that. And we thought that was a really powerful message to communicate in that JTA was not just connecting you from one physical destination to another, but to neighbors, to neighboring communities, to family. And so there's this really strong, message behind this idea of connection and connecting. We also wanted to highlight this responsiveness. Again, it came out time and again as we were talking to folks that your team is incredibly responsive and adaptable to community needs and is continually looking for ways to support what the community needs with the services you offer. And then, sustainability, I think you all are well aware of the push you all have made in this area to continue to preserve the natural beauty of Jefferson County and bring your bus system in line with those environmentally conscious, values that are within your community. So from those, we also developed some taglines that we want to give you a couple sneak peeks here on, a couple options that we've honed in on and refined as some taglines that would marry with your visual identity really strongly and bring some additional meaning or deeper meaning to that visual identity itself. So the first option there was connecting what matters. This is obviously, there's some functional component to this, right? As we talked about with the idea of connecting as one of the brand values, it does bring that brand value to the forefront because we think it's really strong. But while being functional, it also has this very evocative nature to it in terms of letting the reader of this statement understand and make the determination for themselves of what is important to be connecting to, and then tie that to the fact that JTA can get you there. So, and then option two is a very playful, experiential option that brings a lot of joy to it, but it's your next great ride, right? So this speaks very strongly to those riders, those potential riders, those choice riders that we talked about previously. Providing that sort of like low barrier to entry of hopping on and enjoying the experience of riding the bus, not just using it for very functional purposes, right? So it's definitely more playful, definitely more experiential and evocative. not quite as functional, but it definitely brings an emotional quality to your brand. So a couple options that we'll talk through and that we're considering. Would love some feedback on as we get through this. So I did want to dive into logo concepts and make sure I don't take up too much time here, but we do have two concepts as well that we'll be talking through with you all. Again, I think you've all seen these previously in the packet, but I want to dive into them. The first concept, again, we wanted to bring in these ideas of natural elements from your landscapes but as well as, at the same time tell this story of like this is a transit agency, right? We want to be able to communicate those two things simultaneously. So we've developed this concept we call convergence. The idea here is this fluid wave-like lines that could be agricultural farm fields, they could be waves themselves. You clearly see the road in the bottom part of that mark. But it brings that symbolism forward without being just in your face about this is a bus, right? And it definitely brings this idea of convergence and connection together as well through these components of this logo and the lockup with the tag, the word mark, all kind of coming together in synergy. So you can see the color palette here is taking a lot of cues from your current blue, red, yellow, primary traditional color palette and evolving that a little bit more. We wanted to bring in more natural earthy tones. So that's where you're seeing those blues up top. Our red leans directly into the red that's currently used on some of your new bus stops, actually. But it's bright, it's bold, it's going to be easy to see, which we think is really important, especially in a rural community where a bus may be, rolling down the road from a mile away and you want to be able to see it, or you want to be able to see that bus stop sign right on the side of the road. And then that greenish yellow evolves your current yellow tint slightly. So very intentional about the color palette, but it's bright, it's vibrant, feels a little artsy. And definitely creates some of that emotional connection. So you can see that bus stop I was referring to up above. These are just a couple preliminary explorations, concepts for things. I just want to clarify that like these aren't done, but we always think it helps to see a brand in action, right? When we're looking at concepts, it's one thing to see it flat like this, and then not entirely another thing to see it on the side of a bus, right? So again, don't take any of these concepts as final. They're very much conceptual at this point in time, but we want to just show you how this brand may be applied across a variety of different applications for you all. So, and then concept two is what we call moving forward. So this takes what we'd call a letter mark or a word mark approach with some bold letter forms. Definitely feels a little bit more artistic, bold in your face a little bit, a little more future facing, and definitely feels like it's got some momentum and energy to it, while still having those clear cues to transit and transportation and movement forward. So whether you're seeing the subtle map marker in the middle of the J, the road arrow coming out of the A, this is all about showcasing that movement forward in a artistic sort of way. Again, same color palette there with a little evolution. And then application here as well, showing you how something like this could be applied. Again, we talk about system thinking. I mentioned that earlier. And so you can see how this mark on the side of the bus is different than the full use case. That's just one example of how we create a system that's can be adjusted and applicable and used in a variety of different applications while still being very clearly your brand. So definitely we'll take some feedback here in just a second. Just want to kind of go over next steps with you all. We do have a stakeholder engagement plan that we've been working on with Kelly and Nicole and her team, talking to you all, talking to staff, talking to TAG, and then also sort of potentially recycling with interview and focus group participants to get feedback, really honing in on some critical questions, right? The reality is We'll all have personal opinions about things, and we'll all have personal preferences. When we're in branding, we really want to think about how something reflects the goals that we're trying to accomplish, right? In this case, it's things like, does this concept reflect Jefferson County, right? Does it clearly reflect being a transit brand? What are we thinking this concept says about JTA as an evaluation tool, right? And whether it's communicating the right things. There's obviously always an emotional connection. So we go through the series of questions again to get beyond the immediate personal preferences and get to the heart of a brand, because at the end of the day, as a brand sits with anybody over time, those you start to recognize it, right? It's the emotional side of things kind of shifts and evolves, and your understanding of the brand evolves as well. And so looking at these types of questions help us to get to that point a little bit quicker of understanding the lasting value of that brand within your community. So we'll work through this with a bunch of your stakeholders to make sure we get the feedback we need to evolve concepts, to refine or to determine a final concept, final direction, and to get to where we want to be with this brand. So with that, I would love to take comments, questions, thoughts, anything. I'm happy to shift back to other slides as well. So if you want me to hop back to another slide, just let me know and we can talk about it.
All right. Thank you very much, Logan.
Yeah.
Great presentation, and good job, everyone, holding your questions. Any thoughts or responses? There's 2 taglines as well as 2 options, and I assume at some point, I guess one just structural question is: Are you trying to narrow it down to one of these options, one of these taglines today or soon? Is that the kind of feedback that would be helpful?
Soon is our goal right now. Obviously, we're taking you all's feedback and taking those other stakeholder groups and figuring out which direction to further proceed with. Right. There's still potentially some refinement to some of these marks and the larger brand systems that we build with them. And same with the taglines. There could be some tweaking and refinement to those as well. But yeah, we're in that process of continually narrowing down until we're where we need to be. So.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thoughts? Don't make me. I've got my opinions. Don't make me go. Go ahead.
I just have a question about the tagline in terms of the intent. Where are taglines typically used?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm actually glad you asked that, because I was meaning to touch on that before. A lot of people will sometimes get taglines and slogans confused, and so that's a really great clarifying question. Is a tagline often, it can be used as a standalone statement, but it often accompanies your brand, right? So very often you'll see a tagline actually called out in some variation of this logo lockup, maybe with like a note right below, right? So it could potentially say your next great ride down here, or connecting what matters. So when we provide the full brand system to you, there will inevitably be a lockup that includes your tagline with that logo mark. That doesn't mean it's the only place you could use it standalone, but the difference between a tagline and a slogan is a campaign slogan often is a little shorter lifespan, right? It's intended to be catchy, to catch attention, to draw somebody in, but it tends to be kind of recyclable, right? When we think about a tagline, we want this to be something that can represent your brand for an extended period of time, right? So, we don't want something that you're going to feel like you have to change out in 2 years. We want something that feels like it's going to be able to stick with you for quite a while, right? And in that, you can have a tagline with your brand and still use campaign slogans when you're promoting Saturday service or a new line you've opened or a new connection, right? An update to your bus fleet where you've introduced a new electric bus, for example, right? So a tagline should stay, right? A slogan should evolve and be recycled, and does that help?
It does a lot. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. I'm just curious. I noticed that concept 1 focuses on Jefferson Transit and concept 2, Jefferson Transit Authority. Do you guys have some discussion about those 2 names and why it might be appropriate to use one or the other?
Yeah, we've actually, that's been part of our messaging and communication discussion, for sure. Um, you know, I think one of the key questions we have, for the project team we're working on, and maybe for this, this board more largely, is exactly how you want to represent that big picture. Our recommendation generally would be that your general public audience, your general riders, that the term Jefferson Transit is probably plenty formal enough for them to understand what your organization is, and that that can easily, though, in second and third references, be turned to JTA because it's a commonly known acronym for you all at this point in time. We definitely would discourage you from shortening it all the way probably to JT, which we heard a couple writers in our focus groups use. So it's we know that's out there a little bit. Um, and I think you could potentially make an argument that the full Jefferson Transit Authority be reserved simply for formal communications, right? Like a press release or something like that, right? So when you're talking to the general public, you use a shortened Jefferson Transit or JTA as a second reference type thing. But that is all still in discussion. So that definitely things we're happy to explore further with you all.
Hey, I really like your goals. I mean, I think you distilled it very well. The logos themselves look kind of choppy to me, like the little road in the mountains or whatever it is just like a little bit sticking off to the side. So if you could incorporate the text into the road maybe or something, or make it at least be the same size like the road leads to Jefferson on Jefferson Transit, something like that. And I personally, I like Jefferson Transit better than the authority thing. And JTA, in the world we live in, things get shortened a lot all the time. And if we're looking at welcoming, connecting, responsive, sustainable, it's more nicer to have a whole word than letters. And so the Jefferson Transit thing, the JTA thing there, each one of those letters makes a break in what could be a road across the top.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't move me at all.
I agree with that. Yeah. I had a reaction to JTA, and the concepts felt a little too urban for me. Mm-hmm. And I also liked connecting what matters because I feel like it gets at values more than just kind of your next great ride feels like just a statement that people are just going to combat with. And connecting what matters feels like more of an expression of our values as an agency. So, but I did like this one better than I like the use of color in the other mock-up. I like that there was more of the red and kind of chartreuse color in the
in this.
Yeah, I like the color there, but I don't. This doesn't. The JTA thing doesn't resonate for me.
I guess I started where you were, and just looking at the logos, kind of isolated from some of the applications, the use cases here, I liked the convergence a little better. I was really kind of transformed seeing the map and the JTA kind of incorporated here, and I love the locator icon in the middle of the J and the I think I agree that Jefferson Transit is how we refer to it, or JTA, and I think JTA on the side of a bus is fine. It's on the side of a bus. You can understand what it is. There's not a lot of confusion there. I agree too. Connecting what matters is the stronger and more relevant tagline. I might even be simpler and say something like making connections or something that's just really about, and that also I think connects to the JTA, the second one, the moving forward logo concept, where I love the wayfinding kind of aspect that I felt by looking at a map on the bus, and it reminded me of that band that drives around Port Townsend with the relief map.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I loved that all out just to like
our night caretaker at the Maritime.
Okay, nice. And I liked the way that it kind of looked like a road at the top of the JTA together moving forward. I felt that was the stronger logo. When I saw the convergence on the side of the bus, at least as it was portrayed here, it kind of just looked like a repeating wallpaper on a screensaver or something, where you're just taking the image and pasting it again and again. And this one looked like something that would look great on a card, would look great as a part of a bus or on a bus stop. So, but I thought they were both pretty strong.
But Greg, I think that you're overlooking the scale. Like if you do the convergence one, for lack of a better term, the because it is so separated from the text, you're not really getting the logo. Like the thing about our current logo that I think is cool that maybe others don't is that it's kind of like Superman. It's this bus bursting through a circle, so it has movement in that regard. And this one here, I like the road. It makes sense that a road is on a bus. I like it that the lines could be hills or rainbows or waves or whatever. But it's so separated from any of the text. And if you incorporated the text in there, it would be a lot more effective, and it would be the things that you're talking about, the JTA one.
Yeah, I would reiterate that, Vivian. I definitely am leaning toward this, convergence. And one of I was just in some of your questions at the end there, Logan. I was just quickly looked up the Mason Transit, Grace Harbor Transit, and Clallam Transit, and all of their logos, they do kind of nod toward our natural environment, which is interesting, and I think is certainly a value that you identified there in the beginning. And so I like this this sort of the way you've represented that. I think it's broad enough that it could, I love that it could really reference our agricultural lands, which I do see in there, but it's broad enough to be any of the things: water, mountains, etc. So I really like that, but I'm also kind of craving what Viviane is referencing, which is some way to incorporate it more in with the text itself. So I wonder if some exploration of that would be worthwhile, just to see some options. And then the last thing is that this sort of contemplation of color, when you compare this to the other bus with the to this one exactly, you do sort of see how fun those brighter colors can be. So some way to, as opposed to something much more muted in the previous version.
Yeah.
And I then look at the other the other transit authorities in our surrounding counties as well, and there is more kind of color there that might be worth exploring, in maybe not the logo itself, but the way it kind of plays out.
Yeah, the system, right? Yeah, there's certainly opportunities to potentially further explore color within the system, and that's definitely an application. So that's definitely something we can talk about. One thing I do just want to note here for you all regarding the current, what we'd call the icon, right, which is the wave and road, to the what we call the word mark, which is the Jefferson Transit, right? So those lock up into a logo. Shape is also, as we think about system, right? Inevitably we, in these types of applications, we have to show you one or two lockups, right? But in reality, when we provide a system to you all, we have to think about how this can be flexible in a lot of different applications, because while this, what we call a horizontal lockup, as you're seeing on the side of the bus or on the business card, works great in those applications because the space is horizontal, it won't always work that way when we have a more vertical space, right? And so we inevitably, or a social media space, for example, is very different. You inevitably will have multiple lockups. So we can definitely play with how these two things fit together, the icon and the word mark. And further exploration, we're very happy to do that, but also kind of making sure everybody understands too that we will have multiple different lockups to fit various different use cases as part of this larger brand system. Vertical, horizontal, long horizontal, what we'd call like a media bug type application, all sorts of things like that. So definitely helpful to think that about, maybe adjusting the lineup of this lockup, but Also want everybody to know, like, this isn't the only way you would ever see those two items presented together. So.
Great. Thank you, Logan. Love to hear from folks that haven't kind of thrown their hat in the ring, and then maybe we'll do a poll at the end, and maybe we can hear from staff too about your thoughts about the two taglines as well as logo ideas. But anyone else? I don't know, Fred.
Yeah, I would go along with the making connections over connecting what matters. Connecting what matters, I immediately start thinking of all the parodies people could do with that. Cake and ice cream, whatever, whatever matters to you. I don't, things matter to people. So I could think that being used for a lot of jokes, and avoid that. And plus, I think making connections is just a little bit more specific than connecting what matters is so kind of vague. And I like concept one. I think I do like the color on the buses that made it look a little more fun in the second.
Thanks, Fred. John, any?
Definitely prefer concept one. I might be the only one that prefers the more playful tagline, but that's also a matter of
Your next
preference.
grade ride?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
We're all in
So-
minorities sometimes. I seem to be on one.
And I definitely like the color palette of Convergence, but believe that it could be good to mix more colors in with different concepts or different uses.
Yeah, I will say about the taglines as well. Right, I talked about the difference between taglines and slogans earlier, and I've talked to Kelly and Nicole about this previously as well. Is the potential to, if we like both of those, but in different applications, use a more functional tagline like connecting what matters as your tagline, and still leveraging that your next great ride as possibly as a campaign slogan of some sort, right? So, that's very definitely a possibility within our messaging.
Like
And the
that.
other that you had said yourself was Jefferson Transit can get you there or get you to somewhere. That could be another potential one. But I don't know if I can do this. That's going to be backwards. I did a little sketch here with the letters in the road of Jefferson Transit. But it just seems so isolated, and the text is out there. The other thing I want to mention about the JTA one is it looks like the kind of thing that's going to be dated really fast because the icons change all the time of what the place you're looking at, like in the J, that little dot, those kind of things go pretty fast. And the A part looks like FedEx basically.
Thanks, Vivian. David, anything to add? Your thoughts?
I mean, just piggybacking, I guess, or coming off of Vivian's comments. I mean, logos are always going to look dated eventually. I think our current logo looks super dated. That's just the nature of branding and creating logos, as they eventually look old. I think JTA, this Concept 2 logo looks like it's straight out of the 70s. And so for a while that would have been uncool. I think it looks kind of cool now.
Yeah. Yeah, just so you guys can, I can explain some design theory around this, by the way. David, you're not wrong, right? It's intentionally dated retro to look cool. So this lettering, this bold lettering, is actually this concept originally came from looking at some of the old painted brick wall murals and things that are even in some of the towns around there, right? Because painters used to paint these signs with big wide brushes because that's what they had. And so their lettering was always these big block and had sort of like organic edges to them, right? Which is sort of what you're seeing with these letter forms. So that's and yet it still feels a little bit modern, right? Your Visit Port Townsend actually uses a similar type of font approach for that, sort of same sort of like retro cool type feel to it. So absolutely, David. Yeah, you kind of captured it.
So with that in mind, I think so I have a few notes here. One is I do think the Concept 1 Convergence Actually, no. Concept 2, the moving forward. I like the look of that. I don't like Jefferson Transit Authority as being like what we would print on the side of the buses, though. So I'd probably replace that with just like Jefferson Transit. Um, the
Me too.
making connections or connecting what matters, either one, I'm fine with that. I definitely don't, but yeah, I really, really like the look of that bus stop sign with JTA and Concept 2, that red. That is a flashy bus stop sign that I think is really hard to miss. Looks cool and stylized. I think it's got a classic quality to it that I don't think the other one does. And Concept 1, I just don't love the overall look of it. I think Concept 2 looks a lot better. Is more splashy and has more gravitas to it.
Welcome to Ghost Mural Island with me. I loved the idea of seeing the ghost murals in the presentation too. I was like, oh man, that would be a great ad if you had this faded ghost mural on the side of a bus. But it's not. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, David.
That's okay. But I mean, this is the sort of thing I'm never gonna have like super strong feelings on. I'm gonna let the will of the board carry us. So those are my comments.
I
Well,
agree with David on the bus stop sign. I had that
Yeah.
same reaction to the red bus stop sign.
That's great feedback.
That
Yeah.
would be really easy to see.
You could, and I would say we could do something much brighter even with this first concept. If you were like, we like concept 1, but we love the bright bus sign on concept 2, again, I think that these are applications in concept, not final, in that way. So that's good feedback to get in terms of how we want to apply things. And it sounds like people are all on board with bringing more vibrant color and into concepting, even if we go this route of number 1.
Rick has his hand up.
does it, Rick? Oh, yeah. Please go ahead, Rick. Sorry, your face was on.
Hey, no, you're fine. Yeah, I just want to make a comment on the taglines, the making connections that matter, blah blah. That reminds me of like a dating app. Your next great ride. It doesn't.
That remind you of a dating app?
Yeah, all of it reminds me of a dating app. I don't know if we want that on the side of a bus or just be the logo. Anyway, that's just my thought.
All right, bringing the innuendo in. That's good.
Good thoughts, Rick.
Does staff have any thoughts? I mean, we're likely gonna choose a direction here, so it'd be great. You guys have been very involved in the conversation. I know Nicole.
Are you surprised by our feedback? Sorry.
I was approaching this with just a sense of curiosity. Kelly and I and some of the Dakota and Amanda have been kind of really just in this. So I was just really excited to have some outside perspectives and like a different set of eyes kind of look at it and give us their kind of gut reactions to them. So just excited to hear what the board, has to say. And I think that I'll just speak for myself. There's aspects of both of these that I really like. And so that's why hearing from all of you is, I just think really interesting because I think you're saying some things that kind of I've been thinking. But what I love is I think these are 2 really great places to start and like good foundations for us to build on. So I think, I'm just really excited to hear what all of you have to say. I'm excited for us to go back to our stakeholders. We just feel really honored that we had so many people agree to spend so much time with us when thinking about this. And I will say especially Natalie at Main Street. She spent really a lot of time with us and with Mac kind of going through these exercises as well as Linda McIntyre. So
She's really good at that.
I'm just really excited that we finally got to put this in front of the board. So that's like a non-answer.
That's all right.
That's probably where I'm at.
Okay, so you got your red bus stops. Everything else is just green here, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking back to earlier conversations, like even a year ago, when there was like this big revolt against yellow. I'm surprised to see more of a chartreuse now. Is that intentional? I'm curious about the yellow transformation here. It feels like it's more, it has more green in it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's very definitely green, right? The idea here obviously is like leaning into, you know, the more just a little bit more natural color palette in general, right? Even these blues have, you know, are various different shades of what you had a blue in your palette, right? But we brought in a green hue to all of those, and obviously lean more towards like almost a sea foam in this accent color. So it is trying to bring in some of those things we heard, while also just making the palette more vibrant, right? If you have this yellow in your current color palette, here we go. That's very like soft and muted and just doesn't stand out, as a challenge for accessibility in a lot of ways. And so while you'll notice in application, this, you know, you can call it chartreuse or lime green or whatever you want to call it, is used relatively sparingly, and probably will remain so as we, you know, further explore this. But it is a color that stands out, right? Like you're not going to miss it. It's very similar to that red, where if it needs to be used to call attention to something, it can be used in that way. So.
And I'd like to say I really appreciate that you have good contrast in the letters. Like one thing about our old logo, it does have a contrast that it's visible. Some of this newer stuff, it's hard for old people to see, including me. But it's nice that it is standing out.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been intentional about making sure things meet accessibility requirements and regardless what application they're in, right? So yeah, that's a really critical thing, is to make sure that you know, it can be seen by everyone, and the contrast between colors is appropriate and font size is appropriate and all those things.
Kelly, do you want to add anything?
It's
I just having guys' feedback is
when you go down, when you're looking at designs and stuff, it's pretty easy to go down a rabbit hole and chasing one idea and making it work and ignoring other ideas. I like it that you have two different kinds of ideas for us.
Yeah, I mean, just to give context to all, you know, the way we do this, we started with about 30 different conceptual directions, right? That have gotten us here. So that you are seeing two very different approaches, right? And that's part of it. But yeah, that's been an intentional piece of the approach. So
what can we expect in the future? Are you gonna work up something else for us, or will we see a final result, or what's next?
yeah, I mean, the next steps would be obviously taking this feedback, determining, you know, which of these we want to pursue further, refining based on that feedback, and then yeah, circling back, building this, you know, the application system out further, patterning, all that kind of stuff. So that would be sort of next steps for us after we've gathered the feedback and determined, you know, which direction we want to pursue further.
But then we'll have a final approval on however it turns out.
Correct. Yep.
And so we're looking today to kind of narrow these two down to one, right? Is the idea? It's still unclear if you'd like us to poll.
I think it would be, sorry, I think it would be interesting to like take a little poll. But I do think based on some feedback that we're going to get from staff and from the other stakeholders, and including the board, looking at how we can refine a bit more. But I do think it would be interesting to know, like.
All right. You know, my takeaway so far is that like people like the examples of option 2 here, the moving forward quite a bit, color wise and how the signs put together, but they prefer the convergence concept to pursue, I think, the majority. So I guess I'd like to poll people on that first, understanding that that's just which option, and that I heard a real distinct appreciation of the examples, the applications, the use cases of concept 2. So for the board, can you, I guess, indicate by raising your hand if you prefer concept 1? Concept 1, can you show? Yeah, concept 1 convergence to pursue. 1, 2, 3, 4. And those board members that prefer concept 2? That's 2 of us. All right. So I think concept 1 is the one that the board would like to pursue, but with that caveat that a lot of people like the use cases as explored and with the concept 2. And then I think the tagline 1 seems like more popular, maybe with the adjustment of making connections, maybe not. But can we just poll people on that? The board who prefers tagline 1 to pursue working, or a version of it? And who prefers tagline 2? John is on his island, but so option 1, I guess, for the tagline we'd like to pursue.
But I agree that option 2 should be kind of held in reserve for campaigns.
Slogan.
I think could be a really, it's a fun one for sure, and I appreciate that it could have some application, particularly in a campaign.
All right. Any other questions or thoughts, brainstorms, ways to incorporate ghost murals on our buses? And then you just let the old ads fade away and put a new one on top of it. I think that's like an old building.
All right.
Other ideas? Okay. Logan, can we do anything else to support your efforts?
No, I think I appreciate the feedback and your time, and that little straw poll there is very helpful, and we'll be able to take that back with further discussion with Nicole and Kelly, and excited to just continue pursuing this with you all, hearing from your other stakeholders as well, and ultimately get into a really great logo mark for you all. So thank you for your time.
No, thank you. It was fun. Thank you, Logan.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for your work, Logan.
Yeah, thanks to all of you. I know it's been a lot of work for Kelly and Nicole and staff and lots of volunteers too. So appreciate it. And I think we're all appreciative of where it's coming too. So I think it's looking really good. All right. We'll excuse Logan if he doesn't want to stick around for more resolutions. Thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
And we'll move on to resolution 2616, fuel system repairs. See this up, Nicole?
Yeah, well, I'll let Jamie start.
Okay. All right.
So on our 2026 capital budget, we had budgeted for some repairs to our fuel system out on the fuel island. We have managed to, through the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Organization, secure a company that is going to do some work. They're going to be replacing our terminal, card reader, dispenser, tank probes, floats, everything. We have a lot of outdated equipment on our fuel island that we've known about. So at any rate, we have found a contractor to do the work that's going to supply the equipment. We're asking for a not to exceed $50,000. We don't have the quote completely finalized. There's a couple tweaks that we needed to make, and I haven't gotten that back from our representative yet. So the amount we had budgeted was $50,000. So we're just asking.
We do less if it exceeds.
Yeah, so we will do less. It shouldn't exceed. I just don't have the final number. Without the dispensers, the number was at 31,000 and some change. I don't anticipate that dispenser is going to make us go over that, but I don't know what the final number is, which is why I just put our budgeted amount on there. So we're just asking for the board's to grant us authority, or Nicole authority, to execute a purchase order and get our repairs done.
And some of those repairs are much needed, and there's an added pressure, if you will, because East Jefferson Fire and Rescue relies upon us to fuel their equipment.
Yeah.
So want to make sure that as soon as we can get those repairs done while things are working, that's better than waiting until they're not.
Can I quickly make a motion?
Yeah. Question first.
I have a question. Yeah, I mean, and I don't think it would preclude the motion by any means, but it does occur to me that this is a budgeted amount and I mean, I understand that the reason it's coming here is because it exceeds the delegated authority of $25,000. And I certainly appreciate the update and the function that performs to update the board on projects like this. And at the same time, the timeliness of it is, this is an example of a project that is timely and needed to be done. And I do kind of question if it's budgeted and already planned for, which means this board has basically already approved it, why are we asking for an additional resolution? And I think that's because we've set a delegated authority of $25,000. So I think we might want to look at that at some time in the future. Like, for example, I would really not like for you to have to call a separate board meeting for something budgeted but timely, because we have some process in place that says, anyway. So with that said, I know we're here and you've already done the work to do this and we haven't changed this policy, but I just wanted to bring that up.
I'm happy to make a motion that we approve resolution 26-16 for fuel system repairs.
Nowak. All right. Had a little conversation about the structure of it. I can see both sides of that. I have to say. I mean, I think that we don't have a lot of insight into the inner workings of the organization. So these few, as long as they just fit into our regular business, I find them constructive. But we don't want to create busy work, or hold up projects when they're an emergency. And hopefully, if it was an emergency, you would just get it done. Yeah, we'll get a special meeting going. But this is, emergency preventative. But any other conversation? Okay. All in favor of approving resolution 2616? Indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that is unanimous. All right, we'll move on to we got a quote. It was pretty good. I prepared us for the worst on this one. So I was like, oh man, it actually came in. It's really exciting. So take it away, Jamie.
So this is, and I actually have Mark Hollenbeck here with Complete Coachworks, so who we're working with to procure this refurbished bus. So if anybody's got questions about the quote, or I'm guessing you're going to be the guy that's going to really know how to answer that. But yes, we did get a quote back on a 30-foot Gillig refurbished diesel bus to replace 512. And yeah, happy to answer any questions you have about that. I think, Mark, the turnaround time I was told was like 6 to 9 months-ish on that.
Correct.
So a lot faster than getting a brand new bus, which and at least a third of the time. So we're pretty excited to have this opportunity to work with this company and get a really great vehicle to add to our fleet.
And I think you just answered one of my questions, which was, how do we incorporate this branding process? But it sounds like it will match up just fine, that we would be able to, whatever colors and brand and all of that could go onto this bus and not have to be redone.
Yeah, I mean, we might even just keep it a bit more neutral when we put our order in, like, let's not Jefferson Transit up with our logo. Like, maybe we're keeping it white, or
maybe don't do the colored stripe down the side, kind of a thing
like that, so that when we do take possession, so we put our new brand on it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
that would work.
And I'm really excited about this because there is we just, as an agency, we don't have a lot of spare buses, and it's a bit stressful at times, just like some behind the scenes work that we're doing to ensure that we're keeping service on the road. So I appreciate the board considering a diesel option, in that we can, get another vehicle and have another spare. Right now, 603 is which is our electric, is at Cummins getting some work done. So that's another vehicle that's kind of out of commission for us while it's getting some repair work done. So just not, as an agency, not having a lot of spares. When a good bus goes down like that, it's really stressful. So was excited. I really commend Jamie on kind of leading the charge on, is this an option, and kind of helping us find find a bus, and then Coach Work's getting us a quote. So
My question is, how does this compare to a new bus? I mean, what's our normal, what's our service life? 150, 200,000 miles? And does this set the odometer back to 0 and it's a new bus, or is this set it back to 100K?
Yeah, so it's a retired bus from another agency that we take. We've been doing this for 39 years. We have a full scope of work, 16 pages. We go through every system of the bus, replace with new. The bus will be like new. Replaced with OEM parts, a fully rebuilt engine, rebuilt transmission, brand new white paint, new seats, new floors, new driver's seat. It'll feel like a brand new bus, even though it's not. And it's like you said, it's a third of the time. Right now in transit, I've been in the industry for 30 years. There are 2 OEMs building new buses right now. And that makes it very, very difficult for smaller agencies, which is our bread and butter, smaller to mid-sized agencies. We really value your partnership with us. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the bus will feel like a new bus. And usually, the standard FTA life of a bus is 12 years, 500,000 miles. We're seeing rebuilt engines, rebuilt buses like this go 8, 9, even another 10, 12 years. Okay. Because these Cummins engines are, if your maintenance technicians will tell you they love them, they're bulletproof. And the good thing about this engine is your maintenance technicians will know how to fix it if something goes wrong or if there is an issue. Where you're probably seeing with your, everyone loves the idea of these battery electric buses, but they break down and your technician kind of just stares at it like this, and waits for the
power cycle.
Yeah, turn it off, turn it back on. Right? That's what they tell you to do. So. While I'm all for, zero emissions in the future, the technology is catching up. These kind of solutions are the fiscally responsible things for agencies of your size, I think, and will get you the spare you need and the peace of mind that you have a bus that works.
That's great. Yeah, thanks for making the trip out.
No, it's a beautiful part of the country. I live in Portland, Oregon, so it's a little bit of a drive up, but I'll come up here any day of the week. It's beautiful.
You in Hood Canal. Day likes a day. That's
one back if you can.
Yeah. It's a great solution.
Find. Yeah, it kind of makes you think, why would you ever buy a new bus?
I've been making that presentation to agencies nationwide. I think the most valuable commodity, the most valuable piece of equipment you have is already sitting in your yard.
I haven't looked into the options for grant funding on the. I don't know if you have agencies that grant fund.
It's funny you say that. It's Lono hasn't come out again yet, right? And as we all know, this new FTA, this new administration is, there were zero emission awards in Lono this past year.
Right.
And if they ever release this new Lono, I see rebuilt CNG, diesel, hybrids, whatever, being part of the opportunity.
Yeah.
So to your point, I do see it in the future, at least while this current FTA is in place.
Yeah. That's great. Really exciting. Anyone online have a comment or a question? Rick, this is a perfect opportunity.
Field.
Don't tell us to buy 2 of them.
Well, yeah, 2 for the price of 1.
I'm good for right now.
All right.
600 buses in inventory in California, so we always have buses available.
So I'll move to approve resolution 2618 for refurbished bus purchase order.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved by John, seconded by Heather. Any further conversation, deliberation? All in favor of the motion on the floor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. It's unanimous. All right. Got an official relationship. All right, good work.
Dating apps.
Making connection.
Ask him what tagline he chose.
Next great rap.
I feel like I'm on a video.
Well, maybe that's we're trying to get the CAD system and everything set up, adding features.
Be able to make a hookup
Right. 2 hookups at once. Making connection.
On the bus. You love us, Nicole.
All right. Well, we didn't have reports on the agenda today. We just had lots of business and all right. Well, is there anything we have a little bit of time? So do you,
Give us a staffing update. How things are going there.
I mean, yeah, we can. I am so excited. We did not get to introduce Brenda, who is sitting in the back. Sorry, Brenda is rounding out our finance team. She is our accounting specialist and came in, hit the ground running, and we're just thrilled that she is here. So we're excited that we have a full finance team.
Yeah.
Is excited about that too. We are hiring for several positions. We're hiring for operator. We're hiring for dispatch. We are almost fully staffed in the maintenance facilities department. We are hiring for maintenance and facilities manager. But other than that, we have the rest of that department fully staffed, which is exciting. It's been a while since we've had that. So still hiring. So put the word out. See on our reader board, it's now hiring.
I saw it on the bus yesterday.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of times that's our best advertising. So that's kind of where we're at staffing wise. Sunday service is still kind of, our numbers are holding steady, which is really great to see. I thought, well, maybe they'll take a dip, and they haven't. I think it's really going to be interesting once fall rolls around to see if like the summer season is, what kind of impact that has on ridership. But overall, I'm really excited about just that 7th day of service and our ability to help people connect to what matters. And we're hearing that too, that people are really thankful that there is a transportation option on Sundays.
What do you think of that? Like people getting to the hospital, I've heard.
Yeah. Getting to work, running errands.
Back from the airport is on Sundays is a big one.
Yeah. The ability to do
Yeah.
that. I guess.
So that's, I think that's, I think when the end of the year rolls around, that's our biggest win as an agency of the year is really launching that Sunday service. What am I forgetting, guys?
Get ready for the fair.
Fair.
We're getting ready for the fair. Yes, we'll be at the fair. Sarah's been working with Barb on a wooden boat. I'm a little concerned about wooden boats in that we are still down a bus. And so I really am kind of letting Barb know I don't want to overcommit as to what we can do.
Shuttle service.
Yeah, like I just want to manage expectations. Our plan is to still do what we have done in the past, but just know I am a little concerned because you never know, right? You never know what's going to happen. So
I'm not surprised you're concerned based on your feedback from the last time.
Yeah. But every year we do it. So despite my concerns, so I think.
And then film festival, does that kind of
I'm
similar?
Excited because we'll be able to offer transportation options on Sunday. So I think that's great. Like another day of transportation options for that.
It's not the same influx of people, right? Though you've
Not
never
quite,
done
yeah.
an additional shuttle service.
Not. But Sunday service also, it's great for the fair. Right, the number 3 will drop you off right at the fairgrounds. So yeah, I think overall we're a little behind on kind of some of our other projects just due to our attention has been on staffing. So I'm thinking about our CAT ABL. We're still working on that, but we haven't put out the RFP yet, but we will be shortly. I am a little behind on the electrification strategy. That's still, we need to get moving on that, and that's something that hopefully in the next few weeks, I'll have a little bit more time to dedicate to that. But we're kind of just rolling with it, right? Like we've had some unexpected changes, so we're kind of plugging right along. But
How's the bus riders to trails, the map that you made about the Olympic Peninsula, and how's the uptake of that?
So I've gotten lots of really great feedback on it, and I've been putting it on my display board when I'm at the farmers market and events. So helping people learn, and everyone is astonished to see that you can actually get around the Olympic Peninsula and go through all the different transit agencies. So I think it's doing really well. We have it on our website. I'm still trying to work with Clown Transit and Optic to see if they have an option for printing this year, because we didn't have it in our budget to print the brochures. So if not, then next year we can print them, and I have plans for just promoting it next year too, maybe in some print ads. So yeah, I'm getting lots of really great feedback on that.
Awesome.
And I know Mason Transit was really excited about just that map and getting, making, Amy had talked a lot about making sure this should be in every, bed and breakfast and hotel and Airbnb. So there's some real excitement around the map that Kelly created.
Yeah. Exciting. How's the NEPA going, Jamie?
Still waiting on FTA. So we're in a holding pattern until we hear from
All
them.
submitted. No notes that you're working on at this point.
Nope. We had no more questions. Everything was good on their end, and now they're working through their process. So
And then that 30-day comment period hasn't started yet. So when they get back to us, then it will be an additional 30 days of a comment period. So we are still we're still waiting. So don't expect us on the BOCC agenda anytime
as soon as we know something, we will know something.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right. This is just Q&A. Any other questions for the staff? All right. Well, let's move on to public comment. I don't know if we've had any public join us, but if anyone would like to make a comment, you can indicate by raising your hand or raising your virtual hand or hitting *9 if you're on the phone, and we'd love to hear from you.
There's no hands up online.
Okay. I will close public comment and ask one more time for the good of the order. Is there anything else folks want to address before we let each other head off to our next meetings? Oh my goodness. Don't get used to it. Don't get used to it. All right. Well, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you all for the good work. Really excited about the rebrand and the bus.